ABCs of Death, Zygote. The film, Zygote, depicts the tale of a woman who has been bearing a child in her womb for a remarkable 13 years. The child inside her has taken control of her physical form, and now utilizes her body as its own. The movie commences in a dwelling where a husband and wife reside, and the husband, Ty, is preparing to depart, leaving his pregnant wife behind in solitude. The woman is frightened at the notion of being alone, and she implores her husband to stay with her, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. Nonetheless, Ty assures her that he will return in time for their child's delivery. Before leaving, he points out a jar of medicine provided to him by a midwife. The medicine is meant to delay the wife's labor until his return. Ty reveals that the medicine will last for several years before departing. Following Ty's departure, his wife is left alone, waiting for his return. However, as time goes by, there is still no sign of him. Despite this, the expectant mother clings onto hope and continues taking the medicine left behind by her husband to postpone her labor. Years go by, and the jar of medicine ultimately runs out. 13 years have elapsed since her husband's departure, and the entire house is now in disarray. The fetus has matured into an adolescent, still remaining inside the mother's womb. Consequently, the woman's belly has expanded so much that she can no longer walk and is compelled to crawl around the house. Nevertheless, the fetus can now communicate with its mother. One day, the woman who has seemingly not bathed for 13 years hears some noise from outside and drags herself across the floor towards it, hoping it is her husband finally returning. She calls out his name, but upon reaching outside, she discovers that it is just a feline. She catches and kills the feline and begins to cut it up inside the house. Meanwhile, the woman converses with her unborn child, who expresses how weary she is of consuming the same food and continually urges to be born out of her mother's womb. The woman responds, admitting she does not know what she would do if the child were to leave her alone after being born. It is evident that the woman is experiencing an immense sense of loneliness. The fetus appears to be cognizant of this, and endeavors to comfort its mother by engaging in dialogue. The conversation culminates with the woman making a pledge to her child that she will allow it to be born as soon as her husband returns. Later that evening, the woman experiences intense pain in her distended belly, hindering her from sleeping. She endeavors to retrieve the medicine left behind by her husband, but discovers that it is empty. Feeling her mother's anguish, the unborn child once again expresses a desire to be born, unwilling to sacrifice their relationship. The woman pleads with the child not to abandon her, taking this as a sign to give birth. The fetus takes control of its mother's body and wears it as a garment. It disposes of the remains, tidies up the house, and relishes in its newfound independence. One day, while brewing tea, it hears a creaking door and investigates. To its surprise, it is its mother's husband, Ty. It attempts to glean answers from him about where he has been all these years, but he refuses to answer and disregards its inquiries. The woman informs him about how she lost their child, and Ty responds by proposing that they try for another one. The woman does not wish to repeat the same cycle, but Ty has his way once again.